Wow, so LaGuerta has a new boyfriend, huh? Well, she might be interested to know that her boyfriend's a really damn good cook.
Wait, aren't you supposed to be in school? What the hell? Jesus!
I get it. I need a haircut. It's not that funny, Chef.
You an ugly ass boy.
Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for Dexter Original Sin. This one's going to be doing my next review for Season 1. This is for Episode 8, titled Business and Pleasure. So, wow. We've got 2 episodes left, and this season is getting insane, man. This season is getting insane. We are now at a point where Captain Spencer is fully on the loose. You've got Dexter that is fully just realizing what the hell is going on, and we are seeing all the nitty-gritty details now. This episode went from an extreme that I thought was the most insane this show would get to a whole other level of insane by the time the episode ended. So let's jump into it, let's give our thoughts, and let's talk about this. So, okay. The episode begins, you see Captain Spencer, you see him now as the killer, and you see him with his son, and his son actually recognizes him as the killer. He's like, "Daddy?" And then he takes the mask off when he makes his son pass out. So, oh my god, man, Spencer is already a menace, and I'm all here for it. I think it's such an interesting twist to have the captain of Miami Metro as the friggin' guy. Like, it's such an interesting idea. It's so insane. But anyway, you've got Dexter now that's kind of onto him. He lets Harry know that he believes that this is the killer, that this is the guy. And you've got Harry that doesn't really believe it. You know, he's known Captain Spencer for such a long time, and he's like, "Yeah, and I shaved this morning too, and I cut myself. You're gonna accuse me of killing too there, Dexter?" You know? Like, Harry doesn't believe it. So, in this episode, you have Deb that's out there with her boyfriend, and he's kind of a drug dealer, as we've seen. He's kind of a dealer and stuff, and they kind of make you think that he's the killer at first. They kind of, like, they make you think, like, oh, okay, like, you know, maybe this guy has some kind of an involvement or something, and he doesn't, but at the same time, they kind of make you believe that when he traps her in the boat, when she kind of investigates too far, and you're kind of like, okay, what's going on with this guy? But you find out he's just some dealer, and he's basically just to throw you off the scent, basically. That's all it is. But you have him, he breaks up with Deb, them two, they end up breaking up in this one, and Deb's, like, cussing him out, like, you know, yelling at him and stuff like that, and you got Dexter that kind of finds her later on and stuff and kind of brings her back, but Deb was kind of missing for a little while there, so, you know, you have Dexter that brings her back, and that's that, basically. Now, I'm glad that they didn't have him be a killer, because obviously that would have been some continuity issues there of, like, okay, well, Deb dealt with a killer before, you know, she was dating a killer before, so, you know, it would have made sense if he was, because then it would have been like, okay, well then, how do you explain how Deb fell for it in Season 1 of the original? So it makes sense that they did that, you know what I mean? But anyway, this episode continues to just mess with your mind even more. You basically have Captain Spencer in this one that's fully on the loose. Dexter's tailing him all the way through. You have this like guy or whatever that he trades this bag of stuff for. It's like drugs or something of the sort. And he gives this to him. And then, you know, Dexter goes over to his house and stuff like that. And he kind of is spying on him. You know, you're not really sure what's going on and stuff like that. And, you know, Dexter's trying to get as much answers as he possibly can. But you got this gnome. They constantly focus on this gnome, which I thought was pretty insane. Now, a massive, massive cameo in this one. I did not expect to see this at all. In the early parts where you have Harry and you have LaGuerta that are doing their investigating on the killer, you've got LaGuerta that is getting picked up at her house, of course, by Harry. And LaGuerta is kissing, like, this guy or whatever. It looks like she's in some kind of relationship with this guy. And it took me a second to clue in on what that was. That's Miguel, y'all. That's Miguel back when she was with him way back in the day. They actually cameo Miguel in this show. Now, obviously, it's not the same actor because the actor's a lot older now, but they do bring Miguel into this show as a very quick cameo love interest for LaGuerta, which I thought was absolutely insane. So we did get some pretty insane lore in this one, which I thought was pretty nuts. Now, we also see in this episode, which I was really hyped about, we actually get to see how Dexter gets his boat, this iconic boat that we've seen him have throughout the entirety of the franchise. We actually see him get this for the first time in this episode. And the way they shoot the scene, the way that they do it when he's on the boat and they're focusing on the look on his face while he's driving and stuff, and then like the music and stuff, it felt like classic Dexter. It felt really, really OG, really classic. And they did a really cool job with that. Now, in addition to everything else going on, you also have the flashbacks in this one. Now, this man is just, I mean, I've been dreading this for a long time, but Laura Moser, of course, we know ends up dead at one point or another. We know that something happens to her. Well, in this one here, oh man, Estrada and his boys confront Laura and the rest, and Laura and Brian and Dexter take the fall. And we actually see the sequence, finally, we've been building up to it, where they get captured by Estrada and his folks and brought into the shipping container. So the scene that we've seen of Dexter as a kid and Brian as a kid and all this other stuff, we are actually seeing it in this episode. They build up to it, and well, they are literally about to show you the scene. They are literally about to show you the scene where she gets killed by Estrada and his boys. And I mean, I didn't think we'd get to it in this episode, but they actually get to that point. We see the shipyard, we see them in there. You have multiple other families in there as well, too, being held captive. It's just absolutely horrifying. But anyway, now, here's the thing with this one, man, and this is when things just get insane. You got the current day stuff that's going on in this one, right, with, you know, Captain Spencer. They're doing investigating on, of course, the cartel. And you've got kind of this sequence where they're going in this house. You got Captain Spencer that's kind of trigger happy because he's worried about his son. And he starts kind of freaking out saying, I want my son back. Where's my son? I know you have my son. Like, he's playing the part really well, given what he really is. He's making it fully believable that he's innocent, that he's a worried father, that he's a concerned father looking for his son. He has a huge freak out in front of the Miami police. And we actually got a shootout with the cartel and some of these guys and, the Miami Metro. We actually get a full-on shootout in this one, which I thought was pretty insane. Now, in the process of everything else going on, while he's freaking out, you, of course, do have a sequence where they're firing back against these guys, and you have Bobby that gets hit. Now, he gets hit in the neck. Now, this is nobody's fault aside from Spencer. Spencer is why this happened. And obviously that's, hell, maybe it's a sick, twisted part of his plan for all we know. I don't know. The guy is freaking mental. But Bobby is on death's door now. He's been shot. They're getting him, in the ambulance and stuff like that. And you got friggin' Spencer that's just breaking down and crying over his boy and how my boy's gotta be here and all this stuff. Like, he was freaking out. And Dexter finally then sees the bag that he gave the guy earlier, and Dexter realizes that no, he's been right all along. Spencer is the guy that he's looking for, and he's blending in plain sight. So Dexter realizes that, and he realizes that Harry is definitely wrong, and he's got damning evidence now on Captain Spencer. Absolutely insane. Now, the final scene of this episode is Laura Moser in this container as you see multiple families lined up in this container. I thought Laura and her boys were the only ones there, like her, Brian, Dexter, stuff like that. But there's multiple families here that Estrada and them are killing in front of them. And we literally end the episode on them killing these families in this container, knowing that at the end of the container, Laura is about to get killed. We know that we know that Dexter and, Brian live, but we know that Laura is going to die, and it's probably going to be the opening of the next episode. But they cliffhanger the episode on the families getting killed, and you know as a Dexter fan that she's coming next, and you have to wait till next week to see her go down. Now, finally, we have one of the biggest reveals in Dexter history. We actually find out in this episode that Brian Moser, of course, is not only Dexter's brother, but we've kind of gotten little hints of him, throughout the season. We've seen, like, the ice truck. We've seen, a few things here and there. When Dexter ran into him in 102, which I've said from the beginning, I thought that was him. And, well, in this episode, that is definitely him. He actually has already been investigated as a killer, and he is a killer roaming free. He's the killer that they've been investigating. Spencer obviously is the mole, the one that's been capturing the kids and stuff like that. But Brian is in fact the killer. He has had kills before. He's been doing this before, and they literally reveal in this episode that Harry actually covered it up. Harry actually protected Brian and actually covered up the stuff that he does. So that's why in the original series he goes by Rudy as, you know, this just normal Rudy guy that's this freaking, you know, doctor and stuff. That's it. So yeah, Brian is more important than I thought he was, and Harry is keeping it secret that he is what it is. So I am blown away by that. Brian Moser actually has a huge presence in this episode just for that reveal let alone. And I thought that was absolutely insane. And well, you guys know my prediction. I do believe that Brian is going to kill Harry in this finale and stage it as a suicide. I genuinely believe that. Now that we know that he's roaming free, killing people and stuff like that, I definitely think that he's going to be taking him out in this finale. We are definitely going to see the fall of Harry, and it's going to be because of Brian. Brian is going to kill him, and I am seriously just wondering how the hell that's going to go down. I feel it, man. I feel it. He's going to kill Harry, and it's just a matter of when and how. And that's going to be absolutely insane. So let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know your opinions. What did you think of this episode? This is bar none for me my favorite episode of Dexter Original Sin. This one had so many big moments, so many big things, so many big reveals, with Brian, of course, being revealed as a killer. We have the build up to Laura's death. We have Spencer, of course, you know, and his stuff. You got Bobby that's shot now. His life is hanging in the balance. You have some really great Deb stuff. I mean, it overall was just a fantastic episode. This was a fantastic episode. I'm so excited to see how they wrap up with these last two episodes, because this show is getting insane. This show is mental. So, thank you all for watching, guys. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click subscribe button to miss any of the videos for Dexter. Sure, follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on Instagram, guys. And, of course, I'll see you guys really soon for videos for Dexter. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.